my name is Tiffany, and in today's video we are going to be covering the controversial topic of sugar glider diet. There are a ton of different sources out there that are all going to tell you that one diet is better than the other, and I am here today to tell you that that just isn't true. Honestly, there is nothing harder than when you are a new Suggie parent and you are trying to find the best diet for your sugar glider, and online it's kind of a tug of war of which one is better or worse than the other. So I have done a ton of research into all of the different staple diets out there, and honestly, as long as you pick a good staple diet like the HSG, which we're going to talk about today, the TPG, the BML, there's so many more out there, but as long as you pick one that is listed as a staple diet and you're not feeding your sugar gliders chicken nuggets, then I think you are doing just fine. So I used to feed my gliders the TPG diet, and recently I switched them to the HSG, and that is just because I felt that the TPG was really high in sugar. There's a lot of fruit in there, and in the wild they don't necessarily eat a lot of fruit, so I figured this one had a lot more vitamins and minerals in it, and this is just what I felt was best for my gliders. So I do encourage you to do your own research on the topic. Don't just take what one person says for face value. I also don't recommend, it's gonna sound wild, but I don't recommend listening to what your vet tells you is the best diet. Let me explain. So your local veterinarian isn't going to necessarily, for the most part, specialize in sugar glider care. More than likely, they also see dogs, cats, reptiles, other exotic animals. So I wouldn't take what they say is the best diet for face value. Most of the time, they're just gonna say choose a staple diet and go with that. So that's why I opt for going online and reading articles. There are doctors out there who specialize specifically in sugar glider care, and they've put in, the work and the research into them specifically with all the percentages of calcium and phosphorus and all of that to develop a specific diet plan that is good for sugar gliders. So I personally, my vet recommended the TPG, and I've decided against it within, experience and time spent researching. So I just encourage you to do your own research, put in the work, and pick a diet that you feel is right for them in your own opinion. So that's all that this really is just a community of people who love sugar gliders that just want what's best for their gliders, and maybe that's not exactly what's best for your glider when it comes to choosing a staple diet. So in the wild, gliders are mainly omnivores. They feed on insects, tree sap, bee pollen, and they eat very low fat diets. They get a lot of exercise, gliding through the forest. So when they're raised in captivity, they can become overweight, leading to a lot of health problems if they're not given a healthy diet. They are very active, they have high metabolisms, so it is important to have a staple food that is available to them most of the time. I would say, 24/7, but like I said, diets are controversial, everyone has their own opinions. I personally like to have their wet food given to them at night, and then all throughout the day I will offer them kibble. Kibble is good because it helps to keep their teeth healthy. Dental disease is a really popular thing amongst sugar gliders, so just having something crunchy in there, even a crunchy snack, that way you can make sure that they are cleaning their teeth and not just eating wet food entirely, in my personal opinion. Another good thing to mention that I don't see being said a lot out there in the glider community is the importance of making sure their water bottles are kept clean. Water can harbor a lot of bacteria, so if you're not cleaning it at least once a week, I dump it out, rinse the bottle with some Dawn dish soap, fill it up, put it back in there. You just want to make sure that everything that you are providing to your gliders is in the most cleanly form. So my breeder feeds her gliders the HSG diet. This is something that she introduced me to, and I've put in the work and the research into finding out the ins and outs of this diet. All of the ingredients, I've looked up what the pros and cons are, what benefits them from each and every ingredient that's put into it. She has been raising gliders in captivity since 2003, and she's never had a major health issue with them, so she is someone that I trust. So the HSG diet was developed by Dr. Heidi Bissell, And she is an exotic animal nutritionist, so I have trust in her. Also because she's very transparent in the uses for all of the ingredients on the website. I'll list the website down below so that way you guys can check it out, read a little bit. They have, you know, some information backed on behind the science of creating the diet. And it also says that you can reach out to her if you have any questions about it. And it also has the specific measurements for everything for how to make that diet. So aside from the staple diet, I also wanted to touch base on some other things that you can be feeding your glider. The first being some mealworms. These are the small mealworms. They are live. I think that feeding these to your gliders in live form kind of gives them some enrichment to their life. You know, sometimes I will sprinkle them around the floor and they will run around and catch it, and they get really excited when they hear this cap open. So this is something that I definitely recommend that you feed your gliders. They do have some plastic tweezers that you can use to pick them up if you don't really like touching them with your hands. I was freaked out at first, but I've been feeding them so long that I just don't care anymore. Another thing which is recommended with the TPG diet is the glider biscuits. So these have a dental guard for healthy teeth, and these are just some hard biscuits that can help clean their teeth. They like to chew on them. They don't always eat the whole thing, but I just throw this in there every so often so that they can also enjoy this. Then you have your glider treats. So all of these are from the Pet Glider. I've talked about this brand before. I absolutely love them. They have a bunch of good treats that they offer for the gliders. These are some dried mango slices, some pine nuts. You don't want to give them pine nuts too often because too much of nuts can be bad. It can throw off their levels for their diet. So very seldom. Luna doesn't like these, but Apollo loves them. So all of these treats are going to be hit or miss. You just need to find out what your glider enjoys the most. Then we have some dried papaya pieces and the coveted yogurt drops, yogis. All gliders for the most part love these. They come in different flavors. So this is also a seldom treat because it does have a lot of sugar in it, but it is something that they go absolutely crazy for. This is just to name a couple of their snacks. There are definitely a lot more, but these are just some of the ones that I like to give my gliders. And another item that I feel is essential for a sugar glider diet is a glider kitchen. When sugar gliders eat, they are insanely messy. You might notice that you're getting food flung on your wall, on the floor, outside the cage, all around the cage. This does not 100% prevent food from getting everywhere, but it definitely cuts down on it. This is something that I will wash nightly because it is an absolute wreck anytime that they use it. I just got this on Etsy. It was about $30, so it's not that expensive. You could make one of these. I think this is like a shoebox that was turned into it. I personally did not want to make this, so I just bought this on Etsy, and it's got 3 different entry holes so that gliders are not fighting to get inside. I just put their food inside of a dish, put that dish inside of the glider kitchen, and hope that they stay inside when they're eating. Honestly, Apollo will grab his food sometimes, most times, and come out and eat it elsewhere, so we can try. So for the next portion of the video, I am going to walk you guys through how I make the HSG diet, the Highland Sugar Glider diet. You are going to need some ice cube trays. I like to freeze them into 1 tablespoon cubes because they get 1 to 2 tablespoons, so I find that it's easy to just pop out a already measured tablespoon of their food, put it in a dish, and then it can thaw out because I have these frozen. So you are gonna need some sort of container to keep your diet in. Also a food processor because you do have to blend part of the ingredients. A blender will probably work fine. For the chicken, you might just want to cut it extra small. I definitely recommend investing into a food scale because I not only use this to weigh my sugar gliders just to make sure they're maintaining a healthy weight and it's not fluctuating too crazily, but I also use this, and it's gonna tell me error because I'm holding it in the air, but I also use this to measure out some of the ingredients are in ounces, so like chicken, applesauce, it's measured in ounces, so having a food scale is just an all-around good item to have on hand when you have sugar gliders. So I am gonna stop rambling on and I am gonna go ahead and make the HSG diet. So here we have all the ingredients that are going to be needed when making the HSG diet. This smoothie mix is actually what was recommended by my breeder, and she recommended to use this just to thin out the mixture towards the end. So it does call for water, but at the end, if you notice it's too thick, just adding a little splash of that also gives them some extra vitamins and nutrients. So we have the Vanilla Boost protein powder, then some unsweetened applesauce. It is important to go for an unsweetened one, no added processed sugars. Applesauce is good for getting them some added vitamin C. Then we have the soybean cooking oil. You want to make sure with your oils that the soybean or the flaxseed is the only ingredient in there. Soybean oil is rich in vitamin K, which supports bone health. Then we have the vitamin E oil. This is actually the specific one that they call for on the website for the diet because it has a 20 IU. I don't know what that means, but it is important. Then we have some flaxseed oil, and flaxseed provides essential fatty acids of omega-3 and omega-6, and these are a necessary part of the diet required for a healthy nerve tissue in adults and brain and nervous system development in joeys. Then we also have the Vionate Pet Vitamin, some selenium capsules. You want to make sure that you get the capsules, not the tablets, because you want to be able to open them up and pour the vitamin directly into the food. Also important to get the 100 mcg because that is the amount the recipe calls for. So you don't want to get the 200 or anything more because you want to be able to just dump it in there and not have to measure anything else. Then the recipe calls for 3 boiled eggs. And eggs are a good source of protein, vitamin D, A, B, and antioxidants. Also, the recipe calls for boiled chicken breast. This is 7 ounces. Chicken is a great source of niacin and taurine, and in the wild, gliders will actually seek out spiders, which is their source of taurine when they're in the wild. So, fun fact. Then we have some whole milk plain yogurt. It is important to get something that is full fat with live cultures. You don't want to get any of the Greek yogurt or low sugar, anything like that, because it usually has other additives in it, and we just want the plain yogurt. Yogurt contains essential micronutrients and microflora to keep their digestive system running smoothly. Then the recipe is going to call for oatmeal. I do opt for the baby oatmeal because this is packed with iron, zinc, and vitamin C, and traditional oatmeal doesn't always have that. This is going to be used for thickening our mixture as well as adding those extra vitamins and nutrients. And then these are the specific supplements that they recommend on the Highland Sugar Glider website. It is the bulk supplements. So here we have the taurine as well as the calcium carbonate. So these are all of the ingredients that you are going to need to make today's recipe. this and set it in the fridge. The directions say for about an hour. This is so that the oatmeal can soak up some of that liquid that's inside of there and really incorporate together. So I'm gonna cover this, refrigerate it, and then be back to fill these into my ice tray molds, and we will be done. So it wasn't that bad. I did also want to mention that the ingredients for this diet did cost me about $100. And I know that seems kind of steep, but this is going to last a very long time. Most of these ingredients are in bulk. You're gonna have that protein powder and the other vitamin powders for a very long time. So it is a lot, I think, up front, but then over time, if you calculated that, I feel like it wouldn't amount to being too terribly crazy. Obviously, the TPG is a lot cheaper because that is just fruits and vegetables. But again, gliders don't really eat that many fruits in the wild, and it is high in sugar, so keep that in mind when you are choosing a diet. So I am gonna go and refrigerate this, and I will be back. Voila, it has been an hour. So I am going to take this off. I need a spoon. Give her a little mixy mix and see if we need to thin it out at all. I think this is a good consistency. So then I'm gonna take my ice cube trays, and with a tablespoon, I'm gonna scoop it out and then just fill my ice cube tray with it. Pop these in the freezer, and then they are going to solidify into these perfect little serving size cubes. So then when I'm ready to use them, I will just pop out a serving size cube of the staple diet, and then I will put that in a dish along with a teaspoon of little peas, little frozen peas I get, and then a teaspoon of mixed vegetables. Something that does not have corn in it, because corn, while it can be given to your gliders seldomly as a little treat, it is not good for them. That is a once in a while thing. So mixed vegetables, I mean like green beans, carrots, peas. Sometimes I give them butternut squash. So there is a list of approved vegetables online that you can find for gliders. So do some research and kind of play around with it. You don't want to give them the same food every single day because they're going to get bored. So in that case, you can also substitute a teaspoon of fruit for the teaspoon of vegetables. Only once in a while. I would say don't do this more than like once a month, because they really shouldn't be having that much sugar. It's going to throw off the contents of the diet, and if you mix up the calcium and phosphorus levels, it could lead to brittle bones. So you definitely don't want to mess with the percentages of the diet too much, but give them variety when it comes to the vegetables that they can have. So that is going to be it for me today, guys. I'm going to go pop these in the freezer. Thank you so much for watching. I know there was a lot of information thrown out around there. Diet is just not an easy topic, and you will probably find that out if you do some research online. So be sure to do that research. Thank you again for staying tuned and sticking through this video if you made it this far, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.